welcome back to the series on digital marketing. In today's session, we would learn about digital marketing communication mix. Before we start, let us do a quick recall of what we discussed in the previous session. So students, in the previous session, we learned about the shift in media planning from traditional to digital media and what was its impact in terms of reach and frequency. We also learned about some of the key concepts that are used in media plan, the core elements, that is channels, affiliates, content creators and customers. We also learned as to how digital marketing planning is involved in terms of determining the media plan, selecting a channel mix and allocating the budget. In today's session, let us continue with marketing communications. Now, when you talk about the communication mix, students, we have to understand that we are talking about the tools which a firm is going to by and large use to deliver a range of messages or is going to use to communicate its promotional messages to its target market. In the digital landscape, we know that we use real-time technologies that are available for a firm, and therefore it can make use of these real-time technologies to automate messages to users and also to make the communication highly customized in nature. So all in all, we can understand that in case of digital marketing, we are moving from mass-based communication to a mass customized message structure. What do we actually mean when we say it is a mass customized communication, and what kind of benefits is it going to give me? See students, there is a paradox. When you talk about marketing communication, you are dealing with so many people. That is, your communication is directed towards the masses. But when you are talking about the digital platforms, the presence of the digital medium enables you to customize your communication according to the preferences of the consumer. And this is how the two terms come together when we talk about digital marketing. So what are the benefits? One, you can align your communication according to the knowledge which the customer seek. That is, the kind of information which the customer wants in the communication, you are able to deliver that information, and probably the need for that customer information will change from one segment to the other, and therefore the mass customized communication which is enabled through the digital platforms also allows you to fine tune or adjust your communication according to the preferences of the consumer segments. Second, you can communicate on preferred channels. You can choose your digital channels. You want to be on social media, you want to make use of display ads to communicate, you want to have some information or you want to communicate through your own website, you want mobile advertising as the chosen channel of communication. So there are so many channels that one can make use of depending on what is your situation and on what particular medium you find more concentration or more gathering of the people that comprise of your target group. The third advantage of such mass customized communication, students, is that you can go ahead with personalization of communication based on prior brand interaction. If you recall, we mentioned in one of the sessions about the storytelling. So sometimes you make use of storytelling, or the brand is taking a particular cause forward and is using social media in order to connect with the communities who believe in that particular cause. So that interaction can continue and it can be made more personalized over a digital platform where the brand is already making that communication. Fourth, promotion can be based on real-time funnel activity. You can track where and in which state of consumer funnel, in which stage of the consumer funnel my target consumer is at present, and you can align your communication strategy or you can align your promotion strategy based on the stage of the consumer funnel. Let us talk more about this. Now, when you talk about knowledge of consumer preferences, you know that consumers have access to so many mediums today. Also, there are multiple consumer touch points, and you can use the digital technology and you can use the digital medium in order to gain access to and garner insights into consumer preferences, not only for a product but also the communication to which you think they are more likely to respond in a positive manner. We also, along with this, talked about the preferred channels. We know that with the knowledge of key communication platforms that the consumers visit often, the frequency of the visit, the timing of the most profitable or loyal customers, it can be determined on the basis of consumer path and various kind of analysis which are possible through the digital mediums. So, communication efforts and also the money, the budget, it can be targeted specifically to those channels for particular audience groups or for particular audience clusters. When we talk about personalization, we know that with the ability to compare multiple data points across customer interaction databases, your prior interaction with the consumer, your prior experiences with the brand, it can be combined all together to provide you with certain insights and learnings which can support your personalization activity, and you can use it as an opportunity to interact better with your key customer groups. Lastly, where we talked about the funnel activity, the most interesting concept of marketing concept and the communication strategy, students, is that automation has provided you with an ability to interact with each individual customer. So, the firms can really know a lot when they are visiting a brand, when they are sharing their content, and they can use all this in real time as the consumer is also moving through various pages, the web pages, scanning the various mediums. So, along with that, the firm can also help and can get some conversion at each stage by designing your communication and marketing strategies along that communication funnel stage. Now, let us look at what should be embedded in the communication strategy which would be developed by a digital firm for its target group. So, the key elements, students, would comprise of: 1. Differentiation. A firm should try always to differentiate its product from its competitors. So, if you are able to come up with the message or the content or the communication strategy which enables you to create that distinction in the best possible manner, your communication would also turn out to be most impactful. Second is, look for some reinforcement. Remind people of their previous experiences with the brand, previous interactions with the brand, and continue to provide them with an assurance that the brand is going to work better consistently than any other rival firm or any other competitive product that they might come across. Third is, continue to inform. Continuously, a firm in the digital landscape should use ways and means to make the potential customers aware of what is its offerings, what is the offering mix, how the offerings can be accessed, at what price they can be procured, what is it that the offering is going to do for the consumer, how those offerings are going to provide better and effective satisfaction in comparison to similar offerings which are available in the market. So, continuously inform, because more a firm informs, better it is that you would be able to have an effective connect with your base of consumers. Fourth is persuade. Students, we know that communication is largely a persuasive strategy. You have to persuade and entice the customer on the desirable prospects of getting into an exchange and buying the product. So, you have to persuade in terms of what can the product do for them, how the product or how the concept is going to or is likely to solve the problem that they are facing, what it would be like to use that particular product and buy that particular product. So, more communication designed in the line of encouraging the consumers and persuading them to buy the product would make your communication more and more effective. Now, when we are talking about the communication strategy, students, one has to understand that the entire process of developing a communication strategy involves a series of related steps. It's a process that one has to follow, a step-by-step process. Let us look at the 4-step process which is involved in developing a communication strategy. First, a firm needs to research the perceptions to present communication efforts. What are by and large, or what are the general perception of the masses regarding this concept or regarding this product or regarding this service, and that is something which has to be brought about in a refined manner in your communication efforts. The firm also should have a very clear-cut understanding of its overall communication objectives. You also need to understand and identify your target audience, because obviously the communication is not for everybody. Just like your product or your service is not for everybody and you choose a target market, similarly for your communication strategy, you need to have a right understanding and identification of your target group. And lastly, you should have a detailed understanding of the primary and secondary communication channels. Let us have some more discussion around these stages. As step 1, we said that one has to research the perceptions so that they can be aligned well to your communication efforts. Now, students, just in the previous topic, we understood that there is a real-time feature, there is a lot of technology which is involved in digital marketing. There is also a lot of automation that you find in case of digital marketing efforts. All this actually helps and support your marketing communication strategy also, as the marketeers can make use of the research and analysis technique in terms of aligning the same to their present consumer perceptions, so that the company's portfolio at large can be better aligned to what consumers think about the brand and how do they perceive the brand. In step 2, you need to understand as a digital firm about the overall communication objectives that you want the strategy to serve. The purpose of any form of marketing communication is to provide information to the target group or target audience on certain parameters. Maybe you want to launch a new product, maybe you want to attract a new segment, you want to get the present customer to buy more or accelerate the purchase cycle. Your objective can be rebranding or repositioning strategy. You want to improve the image of the product. It can be any. So, that particular objective should be kept in mind, and you should set the overall communication goals before you craft your communication strategy, which would help you in accomplishing the same. As a third stage, one needs to have a very crisp understanding of not only the target audience group but also how they behave, in which particular medium or platform their presence is more dominant, what kind of platforms do they choose and respond to for the brand's communication. So, the primary goal that you serve in communicating with the target audience is that you want to capture their attention. Now, this therefore involves performing a segmentation analysis, You also need to define, analyze what kind of target market you are dealing with, what is the audience, who all would be the audience base and the consumer base for your specific communication program, right? And you can always go for consumer profiling. Create consumer profile so that you can weave the story, you can weave the interactions around those consumer profile, and you can have more compatibility between your communication strategy and the kind of target audience that you are dealing with. Typically, students, we find that the target audience can be categorized under three heads. One, as we know, as the consumer. The second is, may not be a consumer, but he or she is still buying it for the family or for people associated with him. He may not be, a person may not be consuming it himself, but is in the purchase decision making or in the consumer funnel very much. And the influencer. Now, when you talk about consumers who are going to finally use or consume the product, they are going to buy the product as consumers and might not necessarily use them, or the influencers who are going to influence a purchase but might neither buy it or use it, your communication strategy will change accordingly. So, depending on with whom you are dealing with and what that person is likely to do. Is he going to consume? Is he going to buy? Is he going to, influence others? Your communication strategy will keep on changing. Step 4. We said that once the communication mix is ready, your strategy is ready, you have to see what can be the channels, what can be the communication platforms. So, you have to choose the right media channels that can be used for your communication. You also have to have a complete understanding of your integrated mix of digital as well as traditional mediums. Companies or firms also need to understand and decide as to which channels would be primary or dominant channels for them, because they find their consumer base to be more prominently and dominantly present on those mediums and channels, and which are going to serve as only the secondary channel basis for them, which can be tapped depending on whether they have money, whether they have budget with them, what is their communication priorities. So, all in all, the key types of channels which you would be using for your communication would be set and would be outlined in this case. And lastly, you also have to create a creative plan for each channel. We understand that different channels work with different terminologies. They want a different kind of a strategy because you are dealing with a platform or the medium which is very different. So, maybe mobile as a platform requires a different kind of an approach. Radio requires a different kind of a creative plan. Broadcast wants a different kind of a creative plan. A YouTube video requires something else. Your website content is going to ask for something else. So, you need to design and develop the message which would be communicated across the multiple channels, chosen channels in an integrated manner, yet keeping in mind the typicalities of the channel that you have chosen. So, decisions on the channels as well as what aspects of your communication strategy you want to deliver through the channels and how you want to keep them similar or you want to differentiate them from the competitors, all this you are going to do in the last stage. And then once you have done everything, of course, it is the time to execute. So, you will be choosing something that we discussed last time about what would be the best time to reach, how you can reach out to them, what should be your frequency, timing, duration, maybe length of the campaign, how you can allocate budget across the different channels which are available, and so on and so forth. Even the implementation can be handled, the stage of execution of your communication strategy along with the choice of the channel. So, if you see them in totality, you would find that one can either have above the line medium, which mostly are characterized by their power to multiply the message many times over, again and again. But where the direct feedback through the same medium becomes difficult, like you listen to the radio, you listen to the newspapers or the magazines, which are the some of the above the line mediums. You can repeat your message, and you can distribute and disseminate your information many times over, but the feedback doesn't work in the same manner. Then you also have, students, your below the line medium, which are more interpersonal in nature, like your conferences. So, there are small groups that you can create for communication. They cannot multiply the message, of course, the way it can be done through above the line medium, but they can provide you a direct feedback through the same medium more effectively. So, you can make use of maybe something like pamphlets or newsletters, brochures, or you can organize special events for your communication strategies. And then there are some categories which involve through the line media, like internet, where it provides you with the power to multiply the message many times over, and also enables you to procure a direct instantaneous feedback also through the same medium in the most easier manner. So, once you evaluate and once you refine your communication strategy according to all these aspects that we have just discussed, you would find that there can be some modifications and refinement that would be involved subsequently. Like, you may have to identify or select appropriate tools to measure the effectiveness of your communication strategy, your integrated marketing communication initiatives. You may also have to analyze both qualitatively and quantitatively through qualitative as well as quantitative data that you would be collecting to determine the effectiveness of your marketing communication strategy. You can also, based on the analysis, you can also recommend some of the alternatives which can be used by the brands and the firms for their future marketing communication efforts. Once the strategy in its place, what is required is you should have the content. You should know what you want to communicate. What is it that you want to talk about? So, now as a next logical step in the communication strategy, we would talk about the message decision, that is what to say or how to say it in a logical manner, how you should structure, what kind of a format you should follow for your message or for your script that you are creating for a particular medium, and who is going to say, who is going to communicate. So, all in all, there are 4 key decision areas involved in message. 1. Message content. 2nd, message structure. 3rd, message format. And 4th, message source. Let us learn about them. Content. As I told you, this is what to say. The brief, the copy part, that should typically cover your message objectives, and should be based around, it should revolve around your target audience personas, user persona, buyer persona, the buying criteria, the buying motivation, the value proposition that you would like to communicate and talk about, and how audience are likely to feel after the communication is over, after the promotion is over. So, what all and how much of all of these components would you like to incorporate in your brief or in your copy or in the script that you are writing? Once the entire content, that is what all you want to put together in your communication, is decided and is freezed upon, you will look at the structure, right? Just like you write a letter and then you decide on what all you want to put in your letter, and then how you are going to structure your letter, So, there would be some beginning, there would be some body part, there would be some closing sentences. So, similarly here for the marketing communication strategy, you need to have and you need to provide a structure to your content. So, the second part revolves around how to put the content forward to the audience. The objective is to have the impact, right? Be it a cognitive learning that you want to provide through your communication. You want to effectively emotionally move the consumers, or want them to take some action or behave in a particular manner. Whatever may be the goal, you have to structure it accordingly. So, various channels would be required to do that. Students, we would learn more about the message decisions in the subsequent session. Thank you.